Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly referee today because today we're carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Mongoose Publishing's outstanding Traveler Science Fiction RPG 2nd Edition. And we are using that to play. So the current arc of our campaign is based and making use of a substantial amount of material from the Pirates of Drinax box set, but we're also building on the bones of our Borderland Run module, which we had initially run. So if you are intent on playing either of those, this session may contain spoilers for either of those adventures or campaigns. If that does not concern you, well then welcome, and let me introduce you to the stars of our ongoing campaign and the crew of the Rift Wanderer. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up, we've got James.
Right, I'm James. I'm Captain Gani, the ship's captain, part owner, engine room tinkerer, and driver of fine vehicles.
Yes. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Next up is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I'm playing Dr. Elizabeth Bell, physician and part owner of the Rift Wanderer.
Yep. And a couple of vehicles now. And last, but certainly not least, is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham. I am playing Laris Zathu, who is a Darien, and he's trying to keep a hold of the fluctuating fortune, financial fortune of the Rift Wanderer accounts.
Yeah. So, guys, we were saying just before we went live, David wasn't able to join us last time, which means he missed out on some of the fierce commerce that occurred last time. Let me bring you guys over to... we are still on Drinax right now, but let's go to the ship maybe to have this conversation. So, what do you guys recall having happened last time?
We went shopping.
We went shopping, essentially. I mean, one of the things we realized was... for all the pluses and minuses of our interactions on Drinax, particularly with Princess Rao, if nothing else, she did pay handsomely. And so, as a precursor to the majority of the session last time, we did reflect that a 700,000 credit payment was... probably generous, even acknowledging and accepting her position and the sort of deep pockets that she probably has access to. It was still generous. It wasn't asked for. And yet she sought to pay us quite handsomely. And there was a little bit of, there's been some debate and questioning about the nature of that payment and the prospects or otherwise.
It is weird that she insisted on paying in pieces of silver. So that's...
Well, there is that. So will we work for them again? And there was some discussion about that. But that 700,000 credits sat nicely in the income side of our accounts spreadsheet for the Rift Wanderer. But then I shall hand over to James to talk about
what is worth noting, one of the things that occurred early in the session as well was the provision of intelligence that had been, shall we say, massaged by Laris before being turned over to the captain for the eventual destination of naval intelligence.
Yeah. And indeed to Princess Rao and
the captain was not entirely impressed.
No.
Yeah, there was redacted and differently redacted information that was provided to Princess Rao and to the Imperium, or eventually to the Imperium.
Yeah.
Which led to the captain's, shall we say, supporting of the local Drinaxi economy. One of the discussions we had...
The captain will take Dr. Ilias down to the cargo bay.
One of the things that prompted this was a discussion of what, like, the practicalities of trying to find this second lost Ihate on a world that is effectively like a barren safari, area with giant genetically engineered lions on them. What's going to be required, and as well as other hunters and potentially hostile Ihate. Said Ihate do not know that you are coming to rescue them, and probably doesn't make a distinction between them and the hunters who are on the planet. That informed some of the purchases and the discussions. If there is anything else that Dr. Ilias wishes to supplement the purchases with, I think he's certainly free to do so. So, Captain, what do you have to show off?
I'm just looking for the where we had our equipment, actually. Laris, where did we list what we bought? I can't remember which of the two options I put.
Let me take a look.
It's not in the crew log. It's not in the ship's locker.
It will be at least in the accounts, the Rift Wanderer accounts. There we are.
Rift Wanderer.
Which is a spreadsheet. I don't know if I think that's been shared, but some time ago. So.
But the brief one is: do we have wheels or do we have tracks?
We ended up with tracks, I think.
We ended up with tracks. Marvelous. So, Dr. Ilias, I say.
Captain.
Ideal equipment for our next expedition. And as you come through into the descend down into the cargo bay, and you get to look in there, I demonstrate to you. And here is Bertha, I say. Bertha is our tracked APC. Our little armored personnel carrier to make sure the crew is nice and safe as we travel across the tough environments.
We bought a tank.
Yeah. Yep. And it was the tracked tank, which is slower and I believe has a lower range, but it has sufficient room in it to store the grav bike that you guys have with you. So there is that. It also has an autocannon and a water cannon. I think it was... Who was it who was so excited about the water cannon?
That was our puppy.
Oh, okay. Carly. Anchor was very excited to have the autocannon, or the water cannon on the turret in the thing. Did you guys make an upgrade to the ship as well? I thought you added a new laser to the turret, didn't you?
Yeah, we got a second pulse laser, I think.
Right.
Yes, we did, because we got a huge discount on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we basically got a 300,000 credit discount on the pulse laser, which I, as captain, sensibly reinvested in Bertha.
Yep.
I can keep going. Yeah, sorry, there was that. There was 2 sky spotters, an improved habitat module, an improved tech level 13 portable fusion generator, and 2 deuterium enriched water supplies. Let me just add that into the chat.
Yeah.
Sorry, it keeps going. It's such a big list.
Oh, you know what? Here, if you want, why don't you put it on the... you should be able to edit the handout for the ship's locker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because then you guys can all...
Yeah.
You all have access to editing that as well.
Is that ship's locker or crew log? Which you...
Ship's locker. No one seems to be making use of the crew log. So...
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll put it in there.
Just for to know, you also, with the University of Space Phoenix and the online simulators, have now got skills in tracked, wheeled, and just basic driving. So
excellent. So are you impressed yet, Dr. Ilias, or?
Dr. Ilias has multiple questions, none of which you will necessarily voice right.
It does set the precedent that if there are other supplies that you feel are necessary for the ship, it does seem as if the purse strings are open at this point.
How much space does Bertha take up in the cargo hold?
It was 10 tons or something, I think.
Yeah, I actually forgot to grab the
That's
vehicle
not too
book.
bad. Yeah.
It's a reasonably sizable amount. Page 115 of the vehicle book. It's probably 10 tons, isn't it? We are carrying about the maximum we can take now, which is about 48 tons. 10 tons of mail and 38 tons of freight are also stacked into the ship. It's probably sort of stacked on top of the ATV, sort of.
There was talk about getting a Jeep as well, but the crew restrained themselves from that.
Oh, there was a really cool. I think that's the one I fancied, actually.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I'm a Wrangler driver, so like that, yeah. I was fully in support of that.
But it sadly lacked armor. So we thought, and this place apparently that it seemed the most flexible of the options. So rather than just using it for this one planet, it could be useful in many others, and you can put all your habitat in the back as well. So we can all have a nice, comfortable place to live.
So easy come, easy go. 700,000 credits in. And the majority of our purchases, including the additional pulse laser into the ship, came to 739,970 credits.
Although, I mean, the more you could think of it as, losing money rather than actually earning anything, or you could look at it as, you did a job for the princess and you got a tank out of the deal for a steal.
Yeah. I think that's probably about right, actually. Yeah.
The Sky Spotters are little drones that can be operated as well. So you've got all of this was in the interest of facilitating a hunt for some Ihate.
Yeah. And a thing to bear in mind is we understand the fauna on this planet are really quite nasty, so.
Yeah. Genetically engineered giant lions, so.
So my main question, Captain, it's a beautiful vehicle, like I can tell it's incredibly well made. It's just fantastic. Why did you opt for a tracked land-based mode of locomotion when the main fauna on the planet is also land-based?
Well, also the Ihate aren't necessarily the most friendly of people, and air cars have no armor. So we had the vision of getting shot out of the sky in an air car.
Okay, I'll take that point.
I did think about designing something, getting up the design rules and making something bespoke.
But at that point, Captain Gunny said, "Laris, calm your tits. We're not going to spend another episode of the spreadsheet on that."
The other supply stuff, the atmosphere on Thebes is it requires a rebreather. It's not tainted, but it is, I believe, thin. So you will need a rebreather, and I think they got enough for everybody in the crew.
I think so.
Or the respirators. That's what that's there.
I think somebody had one or something, so we got 4 others.
Yep.
And the habitat that we've got, plus the power supply that we got, means that we can live in that habitat without rebreathers and everything, because it's sealed.
Yeah.
And has power to run for like a month or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm just going to need to step away for 2 minutes. Kevin, I'll be back. Right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
You see, he's so excited by Bertha. He's.
But I'll take your points, Captain. Probably money well spent. Most importantly, of course, the doctor will ask if we've taken on passengers, or if we're going for a passenger-free period in our lives.
Well, yes. Well, the APC is also in case we ever come across Ms. Candle again.
Oh, you did learn the fate of Miss Candle. You did learn the fate of Mother Candle. or at least the next trip that she'll be taking. Do you recall she was being placed on the Bonhomme?
Yeah.
With those Zodani sympathizers. Not approving, not approving.
You wish to transport her yourself? I'm certain that can be arranged, Captain.
Not at all. I'm just going to get the Imperial Navy to go chasing after the Bonhomme, so maybe she'll go up with that.
Fair enough. We are still waiting for the other folks who are arriving from Peerless Passage to arrive. That is Professor Doherty, and then he's got his traveling companions coming with him, but they should be here, I think it's tomorrow. Is there any other purchases that you had flagged as necessary, or any things to further supplement before you guys head out? This is the highest tech location that you're likely to be for at least in the immediate future.
I think we're just... we just head off towards the thing. I'll just be busy buffing up the paintwork of Bertha. And...
Yeah, what color theme have you gone for?
I've gone for full khaki, but a very nice shade. It's very...
The Doctor, is there anything further you wish to purchase before you leave?
No, I don't think so. I think I got my higher tech medikit, which is the main thing.
Okay.
So I think beyond that at the moment, no.
Okay. Then it'll be tomorrow when Solomon and Evie are being turned over to the folks at Peerless Passage. Did you wish to meet with Professor Doherty? You had been asking about him, I think, before, but it's Alonso who has the contact with him, or at least the relationship with their organization.
I think Dr. Elias would be interested in meeting him. Not fully because of his current activity, but partially because of the amazing sort of research and breakthroughs he had. So if it's possible, he'll happily meet him, but not if it will jeopardize the handing Solomon EVO for, if it might sort of get in the way of any of that. But if there is time for a chat, Dr. Elias will happily meet with him.
Yeah, I think the fact that Evie and Solomon now seemingly have the support of the, or at least the non-interference of the Drinaxi authorities, then there should be no difficulty. They're going to have to resupply and things like that before they head out. So if you wish to make that contact, I think Alonso can make that introduction for you.
In that case, yes.
Okay. Anything else you guys wish to do before, or I guess first off, Dr. Ilias, any further questions about what's been purchased or what preparations have been made?
No, I think Dr. Ilias is I guess, yeah, but unless we're still free to go, Captain, right? There's no favors being called on or second guessing or changed minds from our royal friends. We're free people and can leave at any moment. Mm-hmm. Fantastic, then. So once we know Solomon and Evie are safe, we should do that.
Okay. Then, before we get into our first scene, why don't we all roll a d6 and let's see how much luck you guys are playing with today. Okay. 9 luck, which I think is just a little below average. So, then, Laris, anything further you wish to do before we skip to the day that Peerless Passage will be arriving?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So, then, on the day of, contact will have been made earlier in the day between... Oh, let's actually go to Drinax here. And Drinax is right, I think, here. Yeah. Contact was made with the... I think it's Peerless 3 is the vessel that's coming in. It's an Empress Mareva class vessel, so it's that kind that has the two little, you know, little pods at the front to make it look like honestly, like a taser, kind of, in space. Or not a taser, but a stun gun. What Alonso will tell you is that he has made contact, and if you wish to have a conversation with them once they've got settled in, then he's happy. You know, he says he's happy to do so. If he, I think Lima Sue has left already, so cannot host a dinner about this, but you will be able to meet up with him and perhaps like a stroll in the park, if that would suffice.
That'd be great.
Okay. Then we will assume that Alonso will be the one who is taking care of the turnover for Solomon and Evie to them when they arrive. And do any of you wish to be present for that, or are you leaving? I think if you would, unless any of you are suggesting otherwise, Yuri offers to accompany them just out of an abundance of caution.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. So he'll accompany them. Solomon will say his last goodbyes to you, Dr. Ilias, and his thanks to you for the cocktail that you put together to assist with managing the suppressants, because it pretty much eliminated any of the side effects that he was experiencing from that. So he's quite grateful. He, again, offers his thanks, and that if there's anything that you require from him in future, that to not hesitate for a second to ask.
Safe travels to you, and I hope we will meet under nicer circumstances next time. And I will give him a bit more of the medication, so he has enough for the trip in case he needs it again. Great.
He's actually weaning off it now, because they're not concerned about the Zodani any longer. Then he's going to allow himself to get that out of his system and get back to, partly because like Evie's also going through something similar, right? Because she was having a unusual, she was under the influence of some medications as well, and some psychic impact, or telepathic impact at least. They say their goodbyes, and we bid farewell to the finest named NPC we're likely to see in this campaign. So goodbye, Solomon. It's been a good couple of months. It is a little, let me see if I've got, I don't think I loaded an image for the professor, but let me see if past Kev was a little more on the ball than I give him credit for. Let's see here. Mm-hmm. I could have him look like a Roman centurion. That would defy expectations, I imagine. But oof. Let's use. Oop, I'm in the tranche that has all our Elder Scrolls stuff now.
And that's an interesting crossover.
Yeah, definitely. Oh. Yeah.
So you've got a lot of assets.
There's a lot to choose from. Yeah, definitely. And I've learned from harsh experience to make sure when I'm loading the files to name them something I can like look up again.
Yeah.
Because if not, so we'll use this for here. Professor, my nameplate that you guys can see. Professor Billings Doherty. All right, okay. So, it is a little while afterwards. You guys are, getting things together. You're getting yourself ready for departure. The decision was made last time, Dr. Ilias, to go without passengers this time on the trip to Torpal.
Yeah.
So there's very little you need to get ready for as far as like inspecting or, the health checks and things like that you would typically do with the new passengers. But then you get I think there's a message that comes through on the comlink that it shows that it is coming from a local comlink. So someone local is trying to contact you.
Open comms.
Hello, is this Dr. Ilias?
It is indeed, Professor Doherty.
That is correct, sir. Very pleased to meet your acquaintance. I understand that we might have a pleasant conversation if you have the time to do so. I find myself with my colleagues are dealing with some of the particulars, getting our ship ready to depart, and I have heard that the Floating Palace has some lovely gardens that might be enjoyed. Would you care to join me for a stroll, Doctor?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
I'd be delighted. It'll be an honor.
A half of the hour, will that work for you?
Absolutely.
I will look forward to seeing you there. I will be the one wearing a red rose.
I say.
So, he disconnects the call. You complete whatever tasks that you were working on, or set them aside, and depart with. Dr. Ilias strikes me as a punctual fella. So,
yep.
So you arrive at one of the many wondrous fountains that are depicted here for a planet that is so desolate and arid. It is something to have fountains with that make a aggressive and unnecessary use of anti-grav technology to allow for effectively water sculpting in the air. And you can see a gentleman who is dressed in a very kind of archaic imperial fashion, and with a red rose pinned to his lapel as promised, and he is depicted as he is in his illustration here, studying the fountain.
I will make my way over and introduce myself.
Dr. Ilias.
Indeed. Thank you so much for making the time.
Of course. I had an opportunity to peruse some of your curriculum vitae and your publications. It's some fascinating work that you have done with genetics and with the pharaohs as well. I imagine that was most entertaining and exhilarating work to be done.
It had its moments, for certain.
No, indeed.
On a much smaller scale than your work, of course, which I must say I'm a massive fan of.
When one works as an epidemiologist, one needs to always work on a larger and grander scale, and as such, the results of any fruitful investigations or studies simply will have a larger footprint. It is, I find, in the smaller advancements where we see some of the most significant ones. So, humbly, perhaps we could set aside our mutual admiration and recognize that both of us are quite good at what we do.
That sounds good to me.
Might I make so bold a further suggestion that we set aside our honorifics, and I simply call you Ilias, and you might call me Billings.
That'll be good, Billings.
Good. Ilias, Tell me, is it the work of with the local authorities that brings you here?
Well, that's quite a tale. Let's just start talking. I'll give him a high-level overview of sort of passenger and then taking an interest and trying to help. I'll leave out any sort of details that might expose us too much or give away too much about Princess Rao's involvement. But just make it very sort of high level. We met Solomon. He needed our help. We were heading here anyways. We were more than happy to help out.
Billings seems to be listening quite intently to what you're saying as well, and he asked some good questions that why don't you give us I would say recon, because that's my answer to everything. When you only have one quasi perception skill, everything looks like a nail. I think that's the way that saying goes. So let's see here. Not investigate. I think maybe deception and intellect. If you'd like. Difficulty will only be an 8, so the default one. I just want to see if you're able to judge sort of like a shape from the way that he is asking questions.
It's -3 for not being trained. All rumors to the contrary.
Okay, so it would take you 4 luck to get success out of that then.
People happy for me to use that?
Yeah, it could be really fun if we need it very badly later.
I mean, there's the invasion of the... you guys will be fine. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. So the way that he's asking questions about it, too, the impression you would get is it's the way someone who might be a prospective employer would ask. Whether you're tied down, whether you're committed to things, the familiarity you have with stuff, knowing what sort of work that Peerless Passage does, by virtue of what Alonzo's told you and what Solomon has told you, you might have an idea of what the interest might be. But yeah, he also asks some gentle questions with respect to alignment. To any political things. When he hears about your time with the Hirate, I imagine that you don't, you don't share that you are necessarily taking or undertaking a job for another Aslan noble at this point. But if you share what the exciting stuff that had happened and whatnot, he'll ask some questions about that as well. What's the impression you wish to leave Billings with? Because you've sort of sussed out what is also going on here.
I think the thing is we want to give the impression which is his sort of is not dissembling, is that while he is sort of aware of obviously the politics and the greater things going on, his concern is normally for the individual and the well-being of the people he comes across and deals with, and that he's maybe not beholden to any particular ideology or way of organizing things or has any particular sort of attachment to one side or the other. He doesn't want to give the impression that he's sort of staunch loyalist to the Empire.
Yep.
Or beholden to the Hirates or anything like that. Or maybe he's just like he's trying to help people and just do the best he can without necessarily being, I won't say blinded by a particular viewpoint.
Okay. He says at one point, well, then tell me, if I might impose, Ilias, how was it that you came to be of such extraordinary assistance to Solomon and his ward?
They're partially luck and happy coincidences. We we had previously traveled through here and had made some contacts and knew Drinax a fair
My
bit.
apologies, Ilias. I sometimes speak in perhaps too vague of generality. What I mean by it, I understand that it was happenstance that brought them upon your vessel, but it certainly was a conscious act on your part and that of the crew to welcome Solomon, to shoulder his burden that he had been, and then to undertake local politicking in order to not only save that young girl, but also to take up arms against a hostile polity. The Zidani are not known for forgetting wrongs that have been done to them. So I'm curious what would compel. I understand what Alonzo's circumstances might be, but for y'all to be concerted and for y'all to make such a concerted effort in order to help out this person who, as far as I can tell, was a stranger to you beforehand. I guess my question is not so much how, then, Ilias, it's why.
I think that's as cliched as this might sound. It feels like it's the right thing to do. And I swore an oath once to help people, and I feel sometimes that I've spent a lot of my time being focused on one individual who, let's face it, didn't necessarily need my help and had so many resources and wealth, and that the talents could have been used better elsewhere, helping those that truly need it. So I guess I'm trying to make up for lost time in that regard.
I think folks who are not physicians sometimes think that the strictures of what was known as the Hippocratic Oath is something that we adopt and that we might be governed by, like a set of rules, not recognizing that there are some among us who have always hold core to those principles. And it's what attracted us to the profession of a healer in the first place.
Well said.
You've heard about my old work, and I can tell you, in the work that was done to address that pandemic, multi-planetary pandemic, it is work that I am exceptionally proud of. And if I might be so bold as to speculate, I wonder if you may be harboring a question that I get asked by most other physicians. Dr. Doherty, what have you done in the time since then? And what I could tell you is my early successes, or at least the successes I saw early in my career, it opened up opportunities for me to take on more, and that large base in which we operate, a larger body of patients, as it were, became even larger for me. And that access to some of the other sorts of epidemiological information that the Third Imperium would track. It was in throwing myself into this task and seeing what the physicians of the Imperium and their apparatus were tracking, I became keenly aware of one of the things that they were tracking and what they were doing with the people who were being caught up in that. The ability for the intelligence services within the Imperium to track, identify, and respond to those with gifts of the psychical variety. They had a whole apparatus to track that, to take advantage of them, and to repurpose them. I did never learn to what end, but when it became clear what some of our efforts, the information we were gathering to preserve lives, to prevent widespread sickness, and we're using that information to ferret out innocence. And once I became aware of what they were doing and recognized it, I could not unsee that. And I could not view that all steps we were taking to improve our understanding, while only a small part of it, by understanding what was happening on a larger scale, we were facilitating the oppression and subjugation of millions, if not billions, of innocents. And so, using what I could of my wealth and my knowledge, I found a place where I felt there was a blind spot, and where I could do some good, and as you say, help individuals, where once I was looking at a scale where the individual fades away to statistics. And I can tell from the way you've discussed your work since leaving the service of the Pharaohs that you are finding the same sort of satisfaction and peace in the kind of work we do now.
Can't have been an easy realization, figuring out what your research was misused for.
No, it most certainly was not. And had I a way to have undone there is nothing of which I'm aware that allows us to undo the harm that we have done, advertently or inadvertently. And like a scar, it is something that remains with us. We can live with it, or we can lament it and focus on it. I have no illusions about balancing scales. That, I think, is a fool's errand. Like viewing things from that high level, one can lose meaning in the numbers. It's the names that I choose to remember now. Those we help and those that we can. Those whose lives we can make better. And as the oath goes, we can do no harm in future. I did not mean to bring such a dark cloud over such a pleasant day, Elias. I do apologize. It's rare I meet an individual who I think can appreciate some of what my path has been.
Thank you for sharing that with me. If there's anything I can do to support your work.
He fixes eyes with you and holds them. Now, I don't take offers like that lightly, Ilias. And I do not wish...
I didn't make offers lightly.
And you speak for your crew.
No, I would not be so bold to impose my views fully on my crew. Some of them... They're all good people, but some of them have stronger loyalties to the entities we discussed earlier than I do.
I imagine that you've had... Having dealt with the pharaohs, I imagine you've dealt with folks who seem to put a lot of stock in their words and their declarations. I prefer to assess a individual and a sentient based on their actions. And the actions of your crew, it speaks volumes as to the quality of their character, at least as far as I would assess it. If you mean that, I would discuss that with your crew. And if they mean that, there is always work for a healer. And it sounds like your crew may be well equipped for the type of healing that I have attempted to effect in this region. Now, I understand how they went about doing the fountain work. I just don't quite understand why they would do this. If I might steal a line from Firefly. Is there anything else? He's going to transition back into more kind of chit-chat, and if you have any questions about his work, he's happy to...
I think for Ilias, having had this sort of more somber moment, I'll happily venture some guesses on showing off and the vanities of people, or also maybe the need to show that given all the destruction and devastation below, there's still sort of... Sometimes you do something just because it's pretty or because you can, or to sort of defy the devastation.
Yeah, if you speak to him as well, too, about Solomon's situation, he'll mention that, Solomon had said that you had helped him with his side effects of it. So one thing he might ask is if, for compensation, whether you would share your formula. Or at least your research. There are times where, while Doherty's not psychic himself, there are times when being able to suppress those things so as to defeat a scanner is of value to them, and if they were able to operate without the side effects that come from those kind of drugs, that would be of great value for their type of work.
Well, I will happily send it across to him later.
Oh, great. Would you give us also... You're not getting away from it. Would you give us a recon check, Dr. Ilias?
So many drones.
There really are. Wow!
I am not a spy.
Holy yeah. Right. What you pick up is that there are... two individuals who are clearly following you through the park as well. They are doing an exceptional job of hiding themselves, but you can tell there are two individuals who are following along Dr. Doherty. And again, you rolled incredibly well, so it would be very hard for a layperson to tell that this is what's going on. It just so happens that you've, I guess, had a lot of experience of being followed, or, yeah. You can tell that he is, the two of you are being followed, at least, by two individuals.
Do I get the sense that he's aware of them and that they're sort of his protection?
With a roll that good,
is
yeah.
Princess Rouse.
Yeah, there's a moment, I think, where you can see he makes eye contact with the man and sort of does a nod in his direction, and he returns a nod as well. It's incredibly subtle, and it's clear that there may in fact still also be communication between the two of them, because it's a very subtle kind of nod, and if you had not just happened to sort of catch the eye contact between the two, you would not have done that. If you were to guess, this would be Billings' security detail. Anything else you wish to discuss with him or to bring to his attention?
No, I will not let on that I've noticed his bodyguards.
Yeah. Okay. So then at the end of the afternoon, he thanks you for the pleasant afternoon. This has been some of the most engaging and exhilarating conversation I've had in quite a while.
Pleasure was all mine, and I hope we can meet again.
I do indeed hope for that as well. And Solomon has asked me to once again extend his gratitude. For a man so taciturn, it is unusual seeing him being so effusive in his thanks for you and your crew. Though understanding what you've gone through in order to effectuate her recovery, I think that it is wholly understandable and excusable. So on Solomon's behalf and on Evie's, please extend thank you once again to you and all of your crew. You are viewed as friends of Peerless Passage.
Shall make sure to pass those things on.
Then, I have heard that there is a market here called Rakondo's that, as I understand it, is open until 9.
It is indeed. You still have plenty of time to peruse.
Then if you excuse me, I intend to find as unusual a tchotchke as I can. Enjoy the rest of your day, Dr. Elias. I look forward to our next meeting.
Same.
And he heads off in the direction, and that's Dr. or Professor Doherty will make his exhumed. Then, what do you wish to do now, Doctor?
I guess I'll head back to the ship.
Okay.
See what the others are up to.
So that would
Pass on Solomon's thanks.
Okay. Solomon has all of his things are gone. I think Alonso has likely readied the bunk or the is that what a bunk? What's the word I'm looking for here? Not room. What do you call a room on a boat?
Cabin?
Cabin. He's ready the cabin for the next set of passengers that you take on. Anything else you guys wish to do on Drinax before you make your departure? I'll bring you back to the Rift Wanderer. Did you wish?
I'll probably seek a summary from Dr. Elias.
Sure.
Of so almost, David. I think what Laris is sort of saying is he wants to understand what through your filter, what it is that meeting meant to you.
Sure. So maybe we have a scene when you guys get back. You're going to have a meal before you kind of get, everything ready and get ready to depart. Captain Ganny, we'll assume you're sitting in on this. Do you want to bring Captain Ganny in on this, or do you want to talk to giving his sympathies for Imperial security? Whether that is
no, I think I'm okay. Okay. We just understand what it might mean for the crew and what it might mean for the business and stuff like that.
I think Laris will definitely pick up. There's a bit of a sort of man crush. Clearly, I found the meeting very aspirational and inspiring of the good work he's doing now and how he sort of, gave up on his flourishing career as an epidemiologist to do something that goes largely unseen, but in a way maybe does almost as much good. And Dr. Ellis will mention that he kind of offered our help, but not in a contractually binding. Like obviously we have other things to do, but should we sure path cross again and they require assistance. I was not sure how Gani will feel about it, but
Okay.
A very inspiring person, I'd say.
Oh, very good. It's good to meet such people. It encourages.
Captain Gani, any questions?
Not at this point.
Then, what do you guys wish to do?
So we're ready to leave?
Yeah. We've been busy while you've been away, so we're good to go, I think.
Yeah, I was shown the Bertha. Is that what he calls it?
Bertha, yep. It's strictly Big Bertha, but now I put some dazzle stripes on the side, which are quite slimming, so we can call her Bertha.
No doubt you guys are going to be
constructive afternoon then, Gani.
Those the Ahate and his supporters will not know what hit them when you guys show up in your flash vehicle. Then, if there is nothing else you guys wish to do on planet, then I think we're ready for your departure and your transition to Torpal. So why don't we're a couple minutes early, but why don't we take our mid-session break right now? We'll come back and we'll get the rolls done to get you into orbit and on your way to Torpal. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay. Hey, everybody at home. Hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend thus far. Elder Scrolls. Oh, Archer, we did last year. There's a fan-made Elder Scrolls RPG that we ran quite a few times. Last year, we had some one-shots, and then we had just a bunch of pickup games. We had a fledgling campaign that just, because of scheduling, kind of fell through. But yeah, we've got quite a few of them on. There's a playlist on the channel for all those. It's a really, really, really well done game too, with a lot of stuff from. It's based on like Mithras and Dark Heresy, and I think there's a little bit of Savage Worlds in there, or not Savage Worlds, Zweihander stuff that's in there, but it's completely unique thing, and it does a really good job of modeling the world and the types of characters you would play in, like, you know, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. We had a lot of fun with that. It's really good. And we've got links, I think, in the description of each of those is a link to the games, like the actual PDFs for the games, and there's a Discord server for the creators as well. So if you are interested in that, you can check that out yourself. Really cool game. I really enjoyed running that. Okay. So I'm going to get our rules for taking off and setting the astrogation. Oh, and the encounters as well. I need to roll for encounters.
No, you don't.
Got to earn that Pirates of Drinax part.
Yeah, it's got a badge.
It's like Chekhov's pulse cannon on your ship now.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see. I think... someone was... I just had mentioned it. Someone was asking about Elder Scrolls in chat.
Right, yeah.
I need to check in on that game and see what status of it is, because they were
to version 4, wasn't it? Or something?
Yeah, when we were playing it, they were just pushing out the sort of latest revision of it, and I wanted to hold off printing it again until that was done. But I really enjoyed running that game.
Yeah, I got inspired by it thanks to you running it. I was going to hack a cover, and sort of do my own print and stuff. You remember that? Yeah. I'd be interested to see where it's got to. Mm-hmm.
Especially with the announcement of remastered Oblivion coming out. I imagine there's going to be some folks who will have. So as far as I know, there's not still as yet an official announcement of it, but it's as close to as official as it possibly can be. But they're doing a remastered version of Oblivion, the 4th game.
Oh, okay.
Apparently so. And then also either later this year or early next year, they're releasing Skyblivion finally too, which is like using the Skyrim engine to recreate and expand on the Oblivion game, which is set elsewhere, like further south in Tamriel. So big year for the Elder Scrolls, and would be cool to see what the update on that game has been. Okay, then, guys, let's go to space. Let's see here.
Punch it.
Yeah. It's funny, I finished reading the second volume of the second relaunch of the Legion of Superheroes comic series. And there's a character in that, his superhero name is Ultra Boy, and his character name is Joe Na. Joe Na got his powers by being swallowed by effectively a space whale, and then was exposed to ultra energy and came out. So
okay,
it's but he's a neat character because the whole shtick of his abilities is he's got effectively Superman's power set, but he can only use one of them at a time. So it's a character that's a little more, fragile than Superman or Superboy in the Legion, or a character called Mon-El, who is like Superboy, but instead of kryptonite, he's vulnerable to lead. So he's a cool character just because it's a little bit of an interesting riff on the abilities. You can see more interesting things happen And then after Star Wars came out, because he kind of had this like quasi-smuggling background, he effectively became Han Solo. And in the most recent the thing I read, they really lean into that. So when you first meet the character, he's not joining the Legion of Superheroes, which is just like, you know, plucky bunch of young kids. He's working for the sketchy industrial counterpart for it called Workforce that's run by an absolute scumbag of an industrialist. So, yeah, really leaning into the, you know, scruffy looking guy. Anyway, that was you're quoting Han Solo as my excuse to talk about Joe Knott, because he is one of my favorite characters in Legion of Superheroes, too. So it was cool seeing a fun version of him that right from the get-go leans into that. Okay, let's see here. I thought there was a separate chart for encounters. Like, there's starport encounters, but those all seem to be ground-bound or in space. I thought there was a separate encounter table for coming into orbit. Let's see here. There's critical effects, so I might make sure I flag that. I might need that a little later. I mean, I'm sure you guys are not going to have any problems. Let's see. Travel times. Oh, here it is. So page 155 of the CRB is where that is. The other encounters are around 94, 95. For those at home who may be curious. All right, so let's see here. Why don't we have, let's see here, James. Captain, would you give us a 3d6 roll, please? Oh, there we go. Dr. Ilias, would you give us a Route 66 roll, please? So just roll 2d6. We'll read them 10s digit, 1s digit. Perfect. That's interesting.
Yes, you're not supposed to roll extremes, Dr. Ilias. I thought they taught you that in the...
Well, this is no doubt the best possible outcome, right?
Yeah, no, this is going to be an interesting one.
There's a 50-50 chance it's the best or the worst, and that means 100% the worst.
Almost certainly.
All right, so you guys are making your way... And then, Laris, would you kind of give us a 2d6 roll, please? Okay. Interesting. Okay. So you guys man your various stations. You plug in the departure, or request the departure approval from Drinax flight control, and whether it comes as a surprise or not, you guys do get your departure clearance. So the Rift Wanderer hurtles its way up out of the atmosphere, and do we have a Drinax? We do. Look at that, guys. Holy smokes. Someone put in some work a couple years back. There we are. You're leaving Drinax behind. It is on the way out to the jump point, or a jump point that you'll be heading to Torpal, is when, I think, Dr. Ilias, you are the one who monitors the sensors, right?
I can be, yeah.
Or is responding to it? Because I think Anchor is flight control, Captain Gani is astrogation, I want to say. Is that right?
No,
I normally do astrogation.
Oh, okay. Then
I'm Mr. Engine Room, but I guess I could be the pilot for today.
So I don't want to put too big of a britches on Dr. Ilias, but it appears that he does most of the things on the ship, and he's a spy, and he's a physician. So if they're
You're not the sensors guy in particular, though, are you, Dr. Ilias? You're the astrogation expert.
Yeah.
Am I thinking of Alonso is the Sensors guy, or is it...
Yeah, Alonso does.
I think it's Alonso, yeah.
Does Sensors, okay.
I can do sensors.
Yeah.
Oh, right, of course you can.
I'm guessing Alonso, Laris and I can both do sensors and flying.
Yeah. So why don't we have Laris? You do the Sensors, and
Okay.
let me see here. I'm just trying to find. Oh, you know what? I may need to grab a book. In fact, I'm fairly certain I do. Let me take a look here.
The Book of Happy Events During Space Travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's expanding. One of the great things about setting aside the fun of immersion play, it's also like justifying purchases. So I will take those opportunities. All right, sorry about that. When I was actually like early getting ready for the session too, so making sure I was stocking up books. I'm like, I probably won't need this. I probably won't need this, and like both of those fucking things are things that I've had to run and grab. Okay. So, Dr. or Laris, would you kindly give us a electronics sensors roll, I think, please?
Sure thing.
Nice. So it is on your way out, and I think just by virtue of timing and, you know, the motion of the various celestial bodies, you're having to go to a route that maybe isn't as typically trafficked, right? And as a result of that, you were able to pick up on fairly long-distance sensors a vessel adrift and without power. And it's one of those things where, had you not really been so, you know, perhaps it's your time in flight control that you just had that good instinctive understanding of like, oh, this is a vessel.
Yeah, it's actually a vessel rather than a piece of debris or something.
Exactly. It's not like, you know, whales next to a submarine, you know, kind of situation. Although space whales, I need to write that one down for a future.
Yeah, get it in.
What you do pick up is that there is this vessel that seems to be drifting adrift, or at least the superstructure of a vessel that is adrift. And with an 11, you're able to sort of focus your sensors and get some further information. Do you have a question there too, Lars?
No, that's fine. I was just, I've got a whole host of questions, but keep talking. So that's fine.
So what you were able to identify is it is not a human vessel. It is, in fact, a courier class of an Aslan ship.
Right. Okay. So I've got some sort of schematic sort of data coming in from the sensors.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, I'll ask a couple of questions. Is it off the space lanes, as it were, or is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks, I think, with a roll that. Oh, hold on. Do you have? You've got a science skill, I think, for like astronomy or something like that.
Yeah, I don't actually. I've got archaeology and sophontology, and I've got a general science.
You could do. You could do archaeology, I think, because like archaeology will not only be That's good enough.
Only 8.
So what you would know is that, like, one of the things, there is very little effort done unless there is a salvage that comes out right away. The aftermath of a battle, right, or like some kind of space battle, it's rare that someone goes to do cleanup for it, which means that there is inevitably going to be sometimes leftover stuff. And if you do not have a vessel that is active and it gets lost, it's very challenging to pick it up and to find it or locate it again, because, you know, absent a active power source, there's very little that distinguishes it from any other, you know, floating celestial object, apart from the specific size, or if you have a very specific knack for picking up those things.
Does it have a residual vector?
No, it doesn't. What you would guess based on your archaeology, this is something that's been drifting for quite some time.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing that wherever it's stopped in its thing, this is the sort of the orbit or the position that it may end up sort of resting in, as it were, at some point.
In terms of its and in terms of its size, would it be sort of a smallish vessel, so equivalent to ours?
With more focus on it, yeah, it's a 200-ton vessel.
Right.
It is a Yetsassel class. I know, you know, all of us knew someone who drove a Yetsassel in high school, but let's just put that in there.
But these old wrecks could be worth something. I turn to Captain Gary and say.
So what you would know. Yetsassel class is named after a racing beast on Zidant.
Right. On Zidant.
Oh, this is actually, hold on, I'm going to look at the wrong thing here.
Is it a Zodani ship?
I went to the wrong page.
That's okay. I got a bit confused and excited at the same time.
Yeah. No, understandably. You know what? No, let's live with that.
Suddenly we're salvaging a Zodani battle cruiser. And
no, it's a courier. So.
Oh, wow. It could have. Oh, gosh.
So it's named after a racing beast, and individual ships are often. I think they're missing a word there. The Yetsassel class is named after a racing beast on Zidant, and individual ships often after similar creatures on other worlds. It is an intact sentence. It's awkwardly phrased. The courier design gives priority to transport of important personnel, such as government officials on diplomatic missions. The Yetsassel's role often takes it outside of the consulate and is the Zodani vessel most commonly encountered in the Imperium. Yetsassels are a separate design from Nint's scouts. Unlike the Imperial practice of using the same hull for both scouts and couriers, the Yetsassel is larger than a Nint's and contains more extensive staterooms and fittings. See, again, what's going to be on my tombstone? I'd rather be lucky than smart. We stumble across this and we're like, you know what, fuck it, let's make it this vessel. Finish reading, you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense for why this would be here. So, or potentially here. So,
well, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway,
I shall obviously, the first thing I shall do is I shall let everyone know what I've found and its sort of star coordinates, as it were, and its speed, velocity, and I can pipe that over to Captain Garni for information and for an assessment of deviation from course and all that kind of stuff if he wants to explore it.
Mm-hmm.
Zodani courier ship? Could we be interested? Oh, I think so.
I think so. My goodness, what on earth could we have found here?
So, if you wish to arrange for like
an intercept?
Intercept course, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Nice.
It's funny, I think I've mentioned this before too, but because it's a legacy of the day job, because when I'm, you know, the most interaction I have with other people in the job is discoveries, right? Examinations for discoveries. And you're always thinking of what the transcript is going to look like. Giant pauses as you finish your sentence do not show up on a transcript ever. So if I'm saying like, we're going to, and then I spend like 30 seconds flipping through something, page 21, it's just going to read as if I fucking knew exactly where I was going. It will not show.
It's like when I edit my podcast. Strangely, there are no gaps and there's no
Exactly. Oh my goodness. You could tell whether a court reporter liked you or not, the amount of ums and ers and, you know, unreportable sounds that show up in your transcript. Oh man. Okay, so intercept course. This will be, I think, fly. Or pilot, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, pilot.
Pilot spacecraft, I guess. Okay. Yep.
Buying a ship, running out of power, all important things. Jump. Let's give us a pilot starship check. We'll set the difficulty at 8. You have a pretty good reading.
You got better than me? I've got 1.
I don't have pilot.
Okay, then.
No, you're the best we got.
I think you get +2 from Laris's scan, though. We'll treat that as a skill chain.
Yep. Just in case you didn't see it in chat, also I'm a professional salvageman.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Not that I needed it.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Nice.
Woo!
Then, is that the profession salvage crew?
Yep.
Okay, got it. I'm not sure there was a skill
Wow.
for that. All right,
Yeah.
so with very little difficulty, you have a sense that this is not the first time, perhaps in his service with the scout service, that Captain Ganny's had to intercept a derelict adrift in space. Be it probably... Yeah, you still have that 1G engine, right? Thrust
Yeah.
1 engine?
Yeah, with no change there.
Okay. So then we'll say it's about an hour to intercept. Let me take a
We
look
should
at
probably think of
distance of
boosting that at some time.
scanners.
Well,
I think the King actually cast aspersions on your engine the last time you met with King Oleb.
It's very well maintained.
It's exceptionally
Keep
well
on buying
maintained.
guns instead of engines or med base. Just pointing this out.
yeah, or tanks.
I'll come and show you Bertha.
I mean, an engine refit on one of these is a major piece of reconfiguration. They're not designed to have 2G engines, but I'm sure it could be done. You know, it's like those sort of small cars that you see where they've been tricked out with like huge exhausts.
Yeah, but she's not meant to have jump 2 either, so.
Yeah, well,
Yes, but hour and a half is how long. A little more than an hour and a half is what's going to take it. Perhaps you've, with your good roll there, you've got it down to an hour and a half. Anything you guys wish to do in the time between now and then? The reason I paused here, I was looking up your sensors on the ship because you would have picked this thing up on active radar / LiDAR, and you're going to be able to get like densitometer scans once you get within 10 kilometers of it.
right.
You'll get limited information from it when you get within 1,200 kilometers. And thermal, actually, you'll get full thermal scan once you get within 1,200 kilometers. So if there is any heat sources on the ship, you should be able to pick that up when you get within enough range to fly away. I guess one concern as a salvage, someone with experience in salvage crew, this is the kind of thing that is sometimes used as bait.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. This is potential to be.
I think the one thing you can be confident of is it was really hard to track. It was hard for Lars to pick it up. And so, like, if this is intended to be bait, they're doing a good job of making sure they stay hungry, because it's not something that would be obvious and evident. So, and even if
They may just be making us think that we think that they're like that, and in fact, they made sure that Larry spotted it.
Exactly.
Wheels within wheels, yeah.
I think they call that the Vincini stratagem. Then, anything you guys wish to do in the hour and a half approaching this derelict vessel?
Let's power up our new double pulse laser then as well, and make sure the Zencaster's loaded.
I'm gonna sit in the gunner's couch, I think, and start, blow off the cobwebs from it, and start to power up the weapon systems so they're operational.
Okay. Dr. Ilias, anything you wish to do?
Just like all the simulations. Shh.
I think Dr. Elias would stay on sensors, just making sure there's no other vessels in the vicinity, or if he picks up any signs of anything lurking by an asteroid or powering up that wasn't powering up before as we get closer.
That's no moon. So, would you kind of give us an electronics sensors check there, Dr. Ilias? Very confident there's nothing else out here. This thing, had it not been just for circumstance, you would have, and not for the fact that you were taking an unconventional route out here, it would otherwise have been something that would have hurtled past. Once you get within the 1,200 kilometers distance, there is no heat coming off of this thing. Once you get closer and get a limited densitometer scan, which is at a distance of 1,200? No. Minimal limited is 12. Well, yeah, it is 1,200. You can see that the side of this vessel has been blown out. So it appears as if there was a sudden and unfortunate breach, and it seems to be on the starboard side. And you know that the majority of the cabins are located on the starboard side. So,
as a gunner, can I get any indication of whether it was offensive weapons that have done it from the outside, and maybe the type?
Yeah, give us what is your lower score? Electronic sensors or gunner? Whichever one is the lower one, make the roll for that, please.
It's going to be it's going to be gunner. So let me do that.
Nice.
Ooh, it's a good roll though.
Yeah, you kind of maybe pull up on the local the local little comm unit in the thing. Pull up a three-dimensional scan of it as you're getting closer. The thing is blown out on the starboard side, but there's clearly there's damage to the engines, there's damage to the bridge. This thing was in a hell of a scrap, it seems.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You would guess that the damage is consistent with energy weapons, but it is likely a missile that hit the side of the vessel.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's difficult to how there's battle damage to this thing, but this isn't the kind of thing that attracts dust or such. But your archaeology, I think, would tell you that this is not something that's been out here for 2,000 years or something like that. This is something that has been out here for maybe 100 years, just based on there'll be scoring on the hull for micro impacts, and based on that, I think you're able to tell that this thing's probably been a few decades out here.
Yeah,
up
so
to
it's
a
got
century.
No power signature or anything like that.
Definitely not. No.
Okay.
So you relay that back to the bridge. What do you guys do?
Yep. Just a quick look. Oh. I'm not great with vac suits.
Yeah, I guess I'll.
It turns out.
I have some basic training.
In
I could
which?
probably do with some. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got training in it. Basic training in it.
In which? Sorry, I missed that.
Vac suit.
Oh, vac suit. Okay, I heard axes, and I'm like, I'm looking forward to hearing what this stratagem is here. So.
Yeah.
So if someone's got basic training, anyone want to do an EVA?
I guess. Yeah, let's get in there and. What have I got with me? I'll take my.
This, incidentally, I didn't obviously load it. That's what the vessel looks like, guys.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And it does have whatever, some other... Oh, you know what? I wonder if there's a... Since I'm in the Zidani section here, let me see if there is a name of another animal. While you guys are deciding who's going, who's remaining behind.
Yes, two of us could go, but I could bring my Starship Engineer toolkit and my portable computer 4.
Ultima 1 is also free to stay behind. If you guys all want to go. Very unlikely he'll steal the ship while you guys are gone.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely.
Someone might need to tie a rope or something. Or just float off into space. More than likely.
So who would like to go?
I'm happy to go with the captain.
Okay.
With my new training to use.
So then, why don't... Let's see here. The two of you give us... It's going to be with the great role for piloting that Captain Gani rolled, you're basically going to be able to get into synchronous orbit with this thing. So it's really a matter of just kind of getting across. I think the difficulty will be, I want to say a 4, but let's justify this referee screen here as I look up a...
I'm going to add a fact suit onto my character sheet, but untrained.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be a 4 for you guys to go across. Is everybody going then?
I want to go.
There we go.
Bonus Singularis, but you're welcome to join us.
All right, I'm going to try it.
Ultima 1 is left behind with Nursebot.
Oh, did I press
Great work.
It? No, I didn't. I don't think I pressed it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, Dr. Elias, nearly.
Is that Snake Eyes?
No.
Okay. Wait, did you tick the trained? I don't think you ticked that you were trained in it.
I'm not trained in it.
Oh, did you say you were taking...
-3?
It should be, but I've got a 1 because I've got Dex. So the net is plus. The net is -2.
Yeah.
Just made it then.
It's hilarious. Yeah, so you... It seems that it, studying the stars from a distance is very different from walking among them. So the three of you are able to make your way over to this. Are you planning on trying to go through one of the airlocks on it, or are you planning on going through the giant opening?
Let's try the airlock.
Well, yeah, airlock. Cautious of giant openings with jagged steel holes and things that will rip you open. And that's right. I'm just giving you an idea. Now, let's go for the airlock.
Well, and also, pirates also sometimes leave booby traps behind.
Oh.
I'm sure you guys will be fine. Don't worry. It'll be, yeah.
I'm thinking anything that's going to be vaguely intact and of use will be in the unblown up bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you guys are going to be so happy. Okay, so then, what?
I wonder if we can access their deep storage on their ship computer. That could be interesting.
So the... What is that? Is that the bridge? I'm trying to find where the airlock is here as well. I think it is... There's the... Ooh, there's 2 turrets on this thing as well. Cool. Airlock... Whoa, there's an airlock at the aft of the ship. And there's one on the neck on the port side. Which would you like to use to...
Or the neck.
The neck?
Them
Yeah.
Zodani like to put their control up front.
Guys, stop me if you've heard this one before. I need to grab a book.
It's
Ooh. Starship Operations Manual. I forgot that this has got breaking in to an airlock rules in it. Okay. This really is, I think, one of my favorite books that's come out from Mongoose in the last, couple of years for this. It's such the small craft and the adventure craft or adventure class books for starships have been really good as well. I use this a bunch of times in our this game, and then also in that short war story I did on Wednesdays. Okay, let's see here. Cargo and docking systems, should we go? All right, airlocks. So this will be, because it is not powered, how are you guys planning on gaining access here? Are you just going to try and physically access it, or are you going to try and kludge a power source to it to then force it open?
If I search around it, is there a hand crank option?
There probably is not, because that would be bad for getting there. There would be probably something like that on the inside, but not the exterior of the vessel. So, what are you thinking? Mechanics or to gain access?
Mechanics, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I brought my toolkit as well, so.
Why don't you do this as a task chain to justify your salvage crew? Give us your salvage crew check first, and we'll use that as a task chain bonus.
Nice.
It's nice to see it being used, actually.
Yeah, exactly. As I figured.
Great.
I think that's +2, actually. Because it's 0 grants +1, and anything up to 5 gives +2 as task difficulty. Task chain. Yeah, +2. So you get +2 to your mechanics roll.
Excellent. Then
Nice.
give us our mechanics roll. Get that toolkit some use.
Okay. Incredible. So you managed to gain access to it in a way where it's not damaged and you're leaving no trace afterwards. So this will be fully intact. Also, by neglecting to take the bait that I set down, you're not setting off any kind of countermeasures because you didn't restore power to the computer. So you are able to drift in. There is a first airlock. Now that you've got that rolled down, we'll just let you roll forward with this. It does seem when you gain access to here that there was atmosphere. So there may be still parts of this vessel that are pressurized.
All right, so let's pull the door shut again.
Okay.
So let me think, because yeah, they likely would shut down. If you open the second one without concern, there is no atmosphere in that second one.
Yeah.
Leading down from that corridor, you can access the bridge.
Nice.
You can see that there is, so if you walk down this, you would hit the bridge on your left, which is still sealed, and then you would see on your right the blown out remnants of what were those cabins. So you can see the vacuum of space along there. It does seem as if one side of this corridor does remain intact, though.
Right, yeah.
Other places to check, there's a stateroom. There is effectively a stable or a garage for an air raft, a diplomatic air raft. That seems to be intact. And then there is, of course, the engines near the back. There is more crew on the second deck, and there's a second stateroom up there as well.
Just go have a look in the staterooms, right? See if there's anything statish about it.
Okay. If you're checking the first stateroom on the deck where you are right now, what you will find in there is that it was pressurized. So if you do want to, you would hear the hissing as you're beginning to open it up. Just be mindful that it is across from the vacuum of space. So if you open that and the air comes rushing out, it will very likely bring anything not torn, not nailed down out the airlock and then out into space. You okay with that, or do you have a countermeasure in mind of how to avoid that from happening?
Well, it's an interior door, so maybe I can just drill a hole in it and just let the air out in a more controlled manner.
Controlled way, yeah.
Okay. So once
Again, as a salvage guy, I must have come across this sort of thing.
Yeah, give us another mechanic check then, because what you want to do is not have too much pressure put on one place.
Okay.
Okay. Then you're able to judge it perfectly. It's like a bottom left corner. You drill a little hole in there where the door is most likely to hold. You guys all stand while you see like the little, there's a little bit of like moisture that's probably carried in the air that you can view as it's sort of like rushing out. As soon as that stops, you find that the door opens much more easily. You're able to force it open. There's a fair amount of stuff that has sort of been strewn across the floor that is now on the ground, but otherwise it has two rooms in two tables in here. It looks like stuff has been knocked around even before you guys got in here. The view screen has a big crack in it, but this has all the accoutrements of a Zodani vessel. Like Gani, this is, you kind of feel like you're, shadowing as a Imperial Marine here, because this is very much clearly what a Zodani stateroom would actually look like, something that is servicing the Hyrate. There's pictures of folks who you don't know. There's different cultural kind of things that have been knocked to the ground either by you gaining access to here or to the damage that was done drifting around in the, because there's no gravity in here either. Looks like there's computer terminals in here as well. No power to them. There may be some knickknacks and things like that you could take from here, but there's nothing that is obviously of value.
Yeah.
You still have a stateroom on the top that may have value. There's the stable, and there is the bridge.
I guess we'll have difficulty getting the air raft over into our ship anyway, because we're in space.
The air raft doesn't require air. You can actually fly an air raft into orbit.
Yeah, but we can't get it inside our cargo bay without opening the cargo bay to space. So
that is true.
Vacuum. That's the problem.
Goodbye, Bertha. It's been...
Yeah, I don't do you have space for anything else in the cargo hold at the moment?
There's always space for another air raft. Just got to squeeze it.
We have to throw some freight out and get told off.
Then let's have a look at the other stateroom, I guess.
Yeah.
The pilots.
So the other stateroom, it does appear that it has fallen victim to the attack as it was exposed to space. There's stuff that, there's a table that is bolted to the ground, but most of the stuff has long since been cast out into space. You could take some time searching the quarters on this second deck, because they have largely remained intact.
Yeah.
Does not... Let me see here. Would you give us, Captain Gani, a 2d6 roll, please? Okay. That is Wow. Okay.
Nice. Well, probably nice. It's high.
No, this is good for you guys. This is definitely good.
Tyrannid Swarm.
I was reading that last night as well too. About the whatever is the whatever the demon salient is in Deathwatch.
Archilist.
Okay.
We've not encountered any bodies so far, have we?
Not here, no. It seems as if everyone is at their station or something like that, and you have not yet gone to the bridge. Let's see. I'm just trying to judge how many there are here. So, while there was damage done to the exterior of the vessel, and it looks like what you've seen thus far, that no one is here, and there's not really much of value in the crew quarters on the top floor, you know what is intact? Is the two triple turrets that each have three beam lasers. Sorry, 2 beam lasers and a sandcaster in them of Zodani make.
That's a lot of money.
That is, isn't it?
It's a lot of money. I mean, okay, they're second-hand, slightly used, but...
Do we have room for a second turret?
We do not. Oh, wow. Do we have the hard point? Is there an empty hard point on our ship? We got theoretically room for 2 turrets, but I don't know whether our ship has the hard point to hit it.
Then we could salvage both turrets, but sell off some of it and keep enough to make a second turret if our ship can cope it. Where's me? Where is it?
Is it on? Is it, the Rift Wanderer's on here? Is it?
Each is 1 ton. Yeah, I think we would have hand out 4.
Yeah.
Just hope.
There it is.
My God.
So it's 200 tons, so it can take 2, each theoretically can take 2 hard points.
Yeah, I guess I've given up 1 ton of space for the first turret that you guys installed.
Yeah.
So you would have to give up another ton of, but I mean, it's cargo space you'd be giving up, so.
Yeah. It's a far trader. I need to double check, but yeah, theoretically, maybe theoretically we can take another turret. We'd have to jury rig the, Zodani systems to an Imperial interface, and probably lose an extension socket or something. I don't know. But
if we bring it back to Drinax at some point, they should find it a breeze.
Yeah, actually, we'd have to work out how to do that because we're running heavy at the moment.
You would also know, like, it's got a predictable, because it's been out here for so long, it does have a predictable orbit, absent, interaction of other things. So based on your archaeology, Laris, you may think that, finding these things are hard, but like once you know where they have come from, it's really just a matter of math to figure out where they will be.
Sure, we can predict that.
Could also, I imagine, jury rig some kind of like beacon or sensor or something on here, although that would leave the possibility that someone else would find it.
I think we'll just do the maths. Yeah.
Okay. Then the last place is the bridge.
Yeah.
The bridge appears to have taken a fairly significant hit as well. And you had a question about bodies, Dr. Ilias. It does seem that there are some folks, that there are 3 stations in here, one of which has been vaporized. 2 people died at their stations here, though. And there's pretty. It doesn't look like they were wearing EV suits when this occurred. And they were also witness to the energy discharge of a beam weapon at the bridge. So the tissue damage is pretty extensive. But if you may recall, the way that you identify very easily a Zodani from a Solomani or whatnot, precisely. Let's just count the two. It's Zodani who died here. The computers are actually located next to the bay where the air raft is, and I think it's TL-15 computer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. They put their top tech in their courier ships, maybe.
Yeah, and this one also, like, just, it is something that carries, like, diplomatic individuals, so this was in Drinaxi space. So...
That might be worth stripping as well.
Yeah.
Here we go. Just computers.
I'll see if I can. I'll just see if I can initiate the systems or do a low-level scan of what's there. It's powered down, presumably, at the moment.
It is powered down right now. The engine was effectively damaged irreparably, so it would be a matter of sort of, kludging in a power source. Do you have... actually, Captain, do you want to give us a mechanic check?
Yep.
This is going to be a 10, in part because it... Oh, you know what? And you're going to roll with a Bane because it's Zodani Tech.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got this.
Oh, this is tricky. Let's give this a go, mechanic.
So
Nice.
it's be
Very
one
good.
luck to get that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, with some work, Captain Ghani is able to jury rig power back to the computer. And then would you give us a... Hold on here. Just making sure I'm reading the computer correctly here. It's not the tech level, it's the processing power. Forgive me. I thought I had that wrong. So tech level 11. What is the tech level of your hacking thing there, Laris?
I think it's 13.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead and give us a computers, electronic computers check with plus whatever the thing will give you. Add another extra 1 onto it on top of whatever the normal bonus is.
Let me put a modifier of 1 into the input value and see if that does it.
Huge.
Nice.
Okay. So the two of you are working together on this, and you're able to secure a bunch of data. I'm assuming you're looking for speed and comprehensiveness, so you're just going to grab everything you can and then get the hell off of here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it is worth noting that while this thing will be hard to spot in space, your ship would not be.
No.
So
it was those balloons we put on the fin.
Exactly. You insisted on putting that fucking whistle in the front of the vehicle. Come on.
Yeah, honestly.
Jeez.
But the stripes I put on the side surely make it harder to see.
All right. So then I suppose, so you've got the intel from here. You've got, if you want to grab the flight control data too, that's more than good enough of a roll to
that'd be really useful.
grab that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So you've got that stuff. You've got that. Basically, you've grabbed everything that could be accessible here. One of the upsides is absent any kind of like hidden drive the way that you had before you found on that pirate vessel or the other vessel. this is where that stuff will be secured, because it is the most secured location. So you should have whatever the ship has been was up to. So the question is the turrets. Do you guys wish to do anything about salvage with them right now, or do you just wish to mark where this thing is and come back with a plan next time?
I mean, up to Gani, it's over to you as a salvage guide, but we don't actually have any cargo space at the moment.
Exactly. I think we should dump this, and potentially we should come straight back, though, because this pays better than anything else we're doing.
It pays a hell of a lot better than anything we can do, yeah.
I mean, you have subtly suggested to me that jettisoning our cargo is
well, there's a big
not advised.
lorry in there's a big lorry in there we could get rid of. You know?
Look into my eyes.
So, what is the plan then? All of this, I imagine, has taken several hours worth of work, right? Like, this is, you guys are maybe, like, you're still in, synchronous orbit with this thing. You guys are back having a bite at the, the crew table, accompanied by everybody. You've got all this intel from there. Do you want to take any of the knickknacks out of that one stateroom?
I don't know, just take a Luger or something. No, I don't think so. No.
There actually very well could be. I think you would be able to salvage a couple of bits of personal level gear. Let me take a look here. If there's anything of particular interest here. I mean, I'm sure the last thing they would do is set up a kill bot. So let's just make sure that thing is attached itself to the outside of your hull.
It's one of those sort of 7-cube Rubik's Cubes that these Odani have,
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, look at that. Gosh, I love. This is it.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. Here's the stuff. There's Odani Psionics. All right, so there is going to be likely at least one set of intact combat armor that you would be able to secure from here.
The Zodani combat armor is so cool.
Yeah. The Zodani.
I rest my case.
Yeah, because this isn't just a civilian vessel. It's a diplomatic corps, so there would be guys on board. You would also have in the cargo area a Zodani maintenance bot that could be recovered.
That might be cute.
Oh, very much so.
I want anything tinkering around in my engine, especially not an enemy one.
Did I mention the heavy warbot? Or did I forget? It would be pretty funny if there was a fucking anti-grav tank in here, hey? I mean, there isn't, but... Okay. Otherwise, I think it's just personal effects. So if you want to have something that is like a sidearm or, clothing that is clearly Zodani of make, you would find that in amongst the crew quarters on the second deck, because those ones were largely intact still.
Sure.
There's also some Zodani credits I met. What was that, James?
I'll skip that. I'm not going to take it off a wrecked vessel. I'll
leave whoever died here to have died here. In the crew quarters upstairs, you likely find probably crew members who likely self-ended because they would have found themselves trapped in the crew quarters with no power and the vacuum of space outside. So some may have been able to force the doors open, others just may have taken a shorter end rather than starving to death up there. So what that would tell you is that whoever did attack here, they didn't strip this place. There's no obvious, apart from the blasting in the side and in the bridge, this seems to have been left here. So, anything else you guys wish to do with this derelict vessel apart from marking its location?
No.
Okay.
Is there a standard protocol with dealing with the remains of people you find in finds such as this? Would just leave them? Would there be some sort of pushing them towards the nearest sun? I don't know.
There's a long tradition of kind of giving bodies over to the sea, as it were, right? So I imagine that for those who are in service to this, that's one of the things you would do, is rather than keeping effectively a biological hazard on the ship for longer, you would, if you didn't have a means by which to cremate them, you would probably just give their bodies over to space. So, and them being where you found them, adrift in space in a derelict, is about as good as you could. If you wish to collect you've got data that is drawn from effectively kind of like the black box. That probably would have been that. You could separate that data from the computer that you hacked and provide that data. So the flight control would have an idea of who was on board. If you wanted to transmit that back through the sort of, mark where you found it. As far as, for one, this is the Trojan Reach, so there isn't an overall power you need to report this to, but as far as, if there was someone you were going to report it to, it would likely be Drinax authorities, that there is this derelict just for, flight control and for record keeping. But you were the ones who seem to have discovered this thing. You were the ones who found it. You didn't blow them up. So if you wish to levy a claim on the salvage, you could do so. The local authority would be the Drinax, but there's also folks who would be looking to claim jump as well. So
my suggestion, Dr. Ilias, is that we dump our cargo, come back, get the turret, strip the turrets, strip the computer, and then either we send the crew list to the Imperial Navy intelligence, but also to the Zordani embassy, somewhere, the nearest one. How about that?
That would put you at least 2 weeks behind on your task, not accounting how much time it's going to take to properly extricate those turrets from this vessel, too. That's another half a month that the Sehate is going to be left to his own devices on Thebes.
Oh, he's a fine warrior, don't you think, Laris?
Yeah, I wonder if he's still alive.
It's not worth the rush, right?
Eating canapes and getting scolded by a princess. I don't know.
Canapes, yeah.
Is one of the things that, just to judge the context of this, there's going to be days, give or take, on any vessel, any travel, right? If you guys, if it proves out that you guys are arriving 2 weeks late from trying to effect a rescue of this kid, it's going to be something that'll be very difficult to try and conceal. So your employer would likely be aware of that, and I think he prepaid you some amounts, didn't he?
How much did he pay us again?
He paid us 25% up front, 67,500 credits, according to our accounts.
Versus 4 beam lasers.
It doesn't financially stack up. We do have a reputational, moral, reason to continue. I'm looking at Dr. Ilias nervously.
No, absolutely. I agree with Laris on this one. And the fact that these guns would bring us more than the life of a sentient being is a sad indictment of the state of.
They'll only bring trouble.
But, we are where we are. So my vote would be to carry on back.
Mark it.
Mark
Come
it.
back to
If
it.
it's still here when we get back, fantastic. If we get back to Drinax. But
I mean, I could put a post-it note on the bridge to say we
get
were
there
here first.
Dibs. Signed, the Rift Wanderer.
Yeah.
Now, nobody criticised a fine armoured vehicle in the cargo bay, which cost 200,000, with the couple of million that Dr. Elias is frittering away on
I know.
little social niceties.
I know. Isn't life strange, doesn't it? Throws a curve, doesn't it? He just there's no rhyme or reason to life. Oh dear. I just work here. Yes, going back to my computer systems.
Very good, but this Aslan better be damn charming.
Do you know, I have the feeling he's really not going to be.
I know he's not going to be. That's
So-
why
You
I'm
haven't met his
willing
dad.
to leave him there for an extra few weeks. He's going to be another psychotic furry off jackass
Probably.
that's going to try and kill us anyway, which is why I bought the tank with the autogun.
Yeah.
This time when we get the macho bullshit, we'll just blow him up.
So then,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
go ahead, Loris.
No, it's fine. I was just looking at the water cannon and just thinking aloud. Yeah, so I think that's a plan. We're going to just have to hope that having had this discovery, we don't lose it. And we achieve everything. We deliver our responsibilities for our freight and mail. We grab this recalcitrant and probably stupid Aslan Ihati son. We deliver him. We get the guns. Everybody's happy. Guns of Drinax. It sounds like a movie, doesn't it? Brilliant.
It really does. I can't wait to see that one with Steve McQueen.
Yeah. I think it's got Gregory Peck in it, actually. That's going back a bit. Showing my age.
All right. Then, anything else you guys wish to do with this derelict vessel before you continue your journey to the jump point?
I guess make sure, indeed, that everything's switched off so we don't draw any attention to it.
Okay.
Do you know what? Sorry, I've got to say, I did just quickly check. Guns of Navarone. It is Gregory Peck, David Niven, and Anthony Quinn, but it's Gregory Peck. There you go. Anyway, sorry.
That's great. That's a young Anthony Quinn too.
Oh yeah, very.
One of the films we watched I did a couple courses in what was it? It's not called film studies or something like that. And we watched Knights of Cabarini and Lestrada as some of the we did one semester was fancy shit and one semester that was like garbage. And it was great because we got to see like Fellini, but we also watched like trash horror and stuff like that in it. But in Lestrada is I think it's Anthony Quinn who plays a strongman in that. And it's great because I saw that film after. I'm a big Depeche Mode fan, and it was after I saw the video for Halo, which is, I realize now, a recreation of Lestrada with fucking Dave Gahan as the strongman. And Dave Gahan is about 90 pounds soaking wet compared to Anthony Quinn, who's a fucking monster in this. But anyway. Brilliant. Okay. So then, unless there's anything else you guys wish to do, we need then to roll for a weekend jump, guys. So let's roll for those at home. The Journal of the Traveler's Aid Society, Volume 7 is what we use. There's an article in that we use for this weekend jump. Let's have, I think, next up is Dr. Ilias. Would you give us a D6 roll, please? Where's the fun in that? A boring
All right.
It's literally called Boring Week. Nothing happens. No need to roll. So, you make your way back. Why don't we have... who is your astrogator again?
Moi.
Okay. We need
Safe hands.
astrogation check here for... Yep, that's Starship Combat. I won't need that until you get out.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, that's more than... I think it's like a 4 is what you need to calculate. So, yep, you guys are on your way to Torpal. Anything you guys wish to do while en route to Torpal? You guys do have a week to reflect on the events of the last couple of weeks, because it has been a pretty hectic couple of weeks. Not only learning what was going on with Solomon, but hiding it from Mother Candle, and then dealing with the interference of the Drinaxi royalty when you arrived, and then Zodani spies and a war bot. How is everyone reflecting on the events of the last little while and the tasks that you have before you?
Yeah. I think we've done remarkably well. Is the summary. I mean, against quite high odds, we've done really well. That's my basic take. I mean, I think we were pressured in all corners.
Yeah, I would agree. It's like we did good. We did the right thing. We sort of kind of succeeded. We had some frenemies along the way.
How did you leave things?
And Captain, I think we should promote Laris to full crew member. I know he likes to say that he just works here, but he's definitely proven himself even before he joined the crew. So I think we can make him like a full
very
official.
disturbing anti-imperial sympathies.
We just see things a little bit differently, across the border. I know you want to make us the 51st state, but it's not going to happen.
It's our Canadian content. There is a saying among the what is your race again? The
Darians.
The Darians. There's a saying among the Darians: elbows up.
Hey, miss, anyway, we're far away from the Imperium now. I know in your heart you'll never leave, but
What say you, Captain? That's right, because Dr. Ilias is the co-owner. I forgot.
Yeah.
I suppose, if we have to. But none of this anti-imperial stuff.
No.
Calm it down.
Keep that very quiet. Yeah.
Then,
Update the crew records.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, I'll make a log in the accounts.
Do they mention they pay you in company script? Because
I didn't say that. No.
yeah.
I'll get it out. I've got rolls of it down at the back.
How did you leave things with Professor Doherty? Did you send him a message at all before? He was looking for a response from you.
Oh, yes, I would have sent. So yes, I would have sent him just a little note saying thank you for the enlightening talk we had. Pleasure meeting you, and then attaching the formula for the dealing with the suppressant side effects.
Okay. And what about the offer of help? Did you address that in your email or your correspondence, or did you leave that open?
I think I left that open because I haven't had a chance yet to discuss it.
Okay.
With the crew fully. And I think the way Dr. Elias meant it to come across was not like immediate, like more like a general, if there's anything we can do rather than you give us a job now.
Yeah.
Obviously we have a lot of other things on our plate already.
Yeah. One thing that did not come up that you did not discuss with him is the intercessor. Because it is unclear whether, from what Alonso has said, he didn't hear anything about Peerless Passage from the intercessor. He didn't discuss it with him, it seems. And made no mention of Hilfer or anything like that in relation to Peerless Passage as well. So they may be two, at least two parties or two factions that are have an interest in psionics in the region that just are not aware of one another.
I guess the intercessor is very sort of secretive and might not wish to have been involved. Oh, do we have to deliver something to the intercessor, right?
You have a message for the next time you go. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think you have it with you. I think it's that they've said when you come back through, because I think I could be wrong here. Let me see here, because if you don't have plans to be back on Hilfer at any, set date.
I'm going to say I lost track of this slightly. Yeah, well done. I
think Princess Rao mentioned something about.
Yeah, because you guys are
right.
This is the Trojan Reach. There's Drinax. And you're heading to Torpal right now. Hilfer's sort of the sort of off the beaten path. Like you would have to intentionally avoid Drinax. And I can't imagine why you would ever want to do that. To go back to Hilfer. So it's unlikely that they would leave it with you necessarily. But I think that she did mention that she would want you to convey something to... or I think it was the king. Wasn't the king who said that? The first time you met him? I don't remember.
Can't remember.
And she speaks as her father's voice, so... And I don't think that came up in your dinner with the princess.
Yeah, I can't quite remember when it came up. I have to go through my notes.
No.
So there's definitely sort of, if you ever find yourself that way, we might have a reply for you to deliver.
Yeah, and I think the intercessor is always welcome. Oh, happy to see you guys once again as well. Because you haven't been back to Hilfer yet.
Yeah. Well, no, but we could. So it all depends. It all depends on how we go. Obviously, with our main current assignment, but we could jump back to Drinax. We could sort of claim salvage. I've got no doubt. Sadly, I can't believe we're doing this. I've no doubt that the Drinaxi royal family will be very interested in a Zodani courier. Okay, it's been there for some time. We can probably do some calculations based on its current position and its trajectory, where it jumped into. But they'll be interested. They won't be not interested.
Yeah.
So sadly, like I say, I think, like I've already said, I think with meeting her once was a misfortune. Meeting her twice was regrettable. 3 times would be carelessness.
The third time is a sign that you've got something going for her. So.
Well, I think a certain crew member might end up sort of engaged or something. I think it's just But yeah, okay.
Anchor is a very handsome fellow.
It couldn't happen to a nicer part.
So then, what about you, Captain? What are you making of all this that's happened the last 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, I guess?
I'm disturbed at this ex-Navy guy being in cahoots with the Zodani. I've definitely been filling up got my notebook, and I'm ready to get it, offload it as soon as we can get near those intelligence assets.
Yeah,
and I'm very, very pleased about Bertha.
It sounds, yeah. Anything else you guys need to deal with while in transit before we arrive back in space and check and see if there's any other events?
I think it looks like Ellis will organize one of this sort of crew dinners, seeing as we don't have any passengers. It'll just be sort of a nice, laid back. We don't have to worry about anything. We don't have to discuss any politics or how much salvage we left behind. We can just sort of relax, chill, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kick back, you know.
Yeah.
I think Ultima 1 at one point will inquire about the research that you were doing, Laris.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were looking into...
I only got so far, I seem to recall.
He asked if he might assist.
I would be delighted if you would assist. There's a great deal that you could offer there. I've got so far, it is interesting. And I feel I hesitate to say this, but it could take a good week of intensive study to get more. But I think there's a lot here, and I think there are answers. There are answers in the past which will unlock some things of a possible future. So I don't think it's just a historical series of questions. I think it might illuminate, well, something very interesting about today.
It is a curious way you have phrased it as well, Laris. One of the means by which my design optimizes function is certain experiences and memories, for lack of a better descriptor, by necessity are archived and are not readily accessible to me.
Mm-hmm.
What I could do is it will require entering effectively a secondary mode. I could cross-reference what information you have with my memories. I have traveled widely in the Trojan Reach, and perhaps there may be some opportunities in my experiences that may afford further insight into the unusual but very generous gift you received from Tilasoro.
That could certainly accelerate our understanding.
If I might discharge my responsibilities on the vessel to be distributed amongst the crew, I could enter that mode while in flight.
I'll probably defer to the captain to ensure that's acceptable, but that's probably the best time to do it.
Okay.
Then.
Thank you. Thank you very much again.
Of course. Anything else you guys wish to bring up at your dinner before you arrive in Torpal? I mean, dinner's not going to last a week, but it sounds like this is the time between when everyone else is not doing their, like, University of Space Phoenix courses or, checking an eye on the vessel, otherwise training, writing on or working on their book, in Alonso's case, working on their conspiracy board. Go ahead.
Would ask the captain about Bertha and having voiced his opinions earlier, but that's in the past now. But just more like from a practical point of view, like how do you drive the thing? Like obviously, they assume tracked vehicles from the places Dr. Illis has been are not very common. So he'll have some genuine questions about who of us will.
Related to that, Dr. Ilias, would you like to know what is required to safely park a vessel like this on, or a vehicle like this on a vessel like this to avoid accidental superstructure damage? Because there is a role for it in the game. So.
Yeah.
But what could possibly go wrong with driving a tank out of a half-trained, by a half-trained operator out of the thing on a planet that is just populated by genetically engineered killer carnivores? Nothing will go wrong. Nothing.
No. Safari.
Yeah. So.
However, when those genetically engineered carnivores are pounding on the roof, you'll be glad that you're in an APC and not in a Jeep.
There is that. There is absolutely that.
Mm-hmm. And he agrees. Anything else? You guys
Yeah, because of chat, I'm trying to find a flat cap emoji, but you'll have to look at, and you have to understand what the goodies are about as well. So that's a slightly
nice. All right, so guys, let me then reveal your arrival in.
Excellent. We arrive. Good lord.
Yeah, you guys have safely
Well done,
arrived.
everybody.
You actually left Drinax.
Radar.
Let me see here.
No gravity dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Hold on. I can just do the move over here. So, guys.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh.
The high port around Torpal. And as a reminder, Torpal is a almost extensively water world where the habitats on the ground are either located in shallow water-based stilt communities or on the poles where they are frozen. In addition to the naval defense that is here and the very active starport, this is right along the Florian Way, so there's an enormous amount of trade that goes along here. And the reason they had the money to buy Imperial battleships as well as the people to train how to occupy as well as the justification for them is because they actually conduct trade here. So this is not just a way station. There's actual trade that goes on here as well. Although, because it's kind of an entrepot, it doesn't mean that you can just go and buy stuff the way that you could at Drinaxi. Recondo's Bazaar, now a week away, still open till 9.
Nope.
The other thing that is of note here is this has some of the finest and widest variety of recreational facilities on the planet. So if you want to think, Ryza mixed with whatever hedonistic nonsense that comes to mind, that is what is on offer at Torpal as well. So if you wish to have, you do have the Lions of Thebes calling you, but if you wish to have some recreational time, that is available here as well. We'll have to see what's happening there in 2 weeks' time. Right, Anna? Thank you. So let's go back to the main screen here. Here we go. Everybody gets the usual, it's 1 XP everyone's been getting, right?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay. And we'll see what awaits you on Torpal. Yeah, we'll roll the random encounter when we start next session. A reminder for those, for the players as well as for those listening at home, we're starting a half hour later next week because next scheduled session of this will be on May the 4th. We are also playing in that morning a Star Wars session. So we're starting off with a May the 4th themed Star Wars session, and then we'll be starting half hour late with this one, but we will be try to start directly on time for that one. I know we've been starting late. Well, we usually start late with a lot of our games as we're getting settled in and whatnot. But yeah, so we will be starting and going a half hour late next time. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 14 of the Pirates of Drinax, a leg of our campaign. I may need to make a new, now you guys have left Drinax, I may need to make a new title card for this then. The Lions of Thebes, perhaps. In addition to leaving comment on this video, you can also find a link in the description of the video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where all of us are active, and we have channels there dedicated to this campaign, most of the campaigns and games we run on the channel, as well as things like Finder Group, GM discussion, virtual tabletop chat. There is a terrific, knowledgeable, friendly, and helpful community over there. You are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs like, I don't know, say, the Dark Eye role-playing game, published by Ulysses Spiele. They also have, if they don't have something in stock that is listed in their extensive catalog, you can put it on a want list and they'll send you an email when it comes in. The discount code we have listed down below, unfortunately, expired on the 15th. I have yet to update it, but I will do that as soon as we get off this session. I'll contact them. We should have a new discount code by Wednesday. So if you're listening to this live and dying to empty your cart at Noble Night, well, then we'll have the current discount code hopefully for you by Wednesday this coming week. In addition, we're coming up very quickly, about 6 weeks off from our charity marathon, where we'll be playing a 16-hour stream of Dragonbane. 4 parts to that. The campaign is called The Doom of Drakengräb. And we'll be playing 4 different chapters of a session. We'll be having some players coming and going. We'll have some players sticking around the whole time, and we hope to have a really good time. We'll see, I guess, what running a total of dead player characters we end up with. I do need to make sure we've got extras on hand. But the whole thing is in support of the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, and you'll be able to make donations throughout the stream, and you'll be able to affect the stream as well, too, by making things easier for heroes, harder for heroes, otherwise affecting the story. So we hope to make it a fun and involved activity for everybody involved. So mark that on your calendar. May 31st, starting at 8 a.m. CST, going to midnight CST. It should be a absolutely exhausting and very fun activity. Dragonbane is one of those games that the time flies when you're playing it. So I imagine that the whole thing is going to be over with before we can say boo, but hopefully I'll be able to say boo with some very terrifying monsters beforehand. The last thing I will say before I continue on with this endless outro is a huge thanks to our stalwart travelers. So James, David, and Graham, thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, congratulations on finally escaping the orbit and the gravitational pull of Drinax, although I do appreciate that fate has given you guys a reason for being back in the orbit of Drinax sooner rather than later.
Unbelievable.
And for those listening at home, once again, thank you so much for joining us. My apologies for missing. It looked like chat was quite active today. I apologize if I missed any questions that were in there. I'll try and look at those after the stream. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Again, a half hour later, 2 weeks, we will be playing a one-shot of Star Wars Revised. So this is the second iteration of the Star Wars game that was published by Wizards of the Coast. And then after that, we'll be playing our Traveler game as usual. But until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.